So in case you missed it, we got a giant leak that a new Titanfall game is in development, but it's not Titanfall 3. So I thought it'd be great to kind of take a look at what we're getting and kind of tell you what we all know about it. So Respawn is making a new game set in the Titanfall universe, and it's now in the prototype phase. So that's pretty early in development for the video game, but that means they've got kind of the storyboarding down. They've got the game mechanics, so we don't know what it's going to be. This project is headed by Steve Fukuda, who originally led Titanfall 1 and 2. The guy who leaked it, Jeff Grubb, talked about it, how it was not Titanfall 3, though it's set in the Titanfall universe. He said, everyone I talk to keeps saying, well, it's not. It's not Titanfall 3. Don't get in your mind that it is a Titanfall 3. Like a game with online multiplayer and a single player campaign. And he said, I'm like, well, wait, what is the game? I still don't know, he says. Originally, they had another game in development in the Titanfall universe. It was called Titanfall Legends, or that was the code name. We actually played as Blisk helping out the Legends. It was kind of a mix of Titanfall and Apex Legends, more so on the side of Apex Legends. The Legends would give you special powers, and then you'd help rebuild BT in some way. Talking about Titanfall Legends and how it was really a lot of Apex Legends and not so much Titanfall, Jeff Grubb had to say the thinking there was that more people who played Apex Legends than have ever heard of Titanfall, so they were really going to lean into that, Grubb said. And while I was excited for Titanfall Legends, hearing that, I'm very glad it didn't come to fruition. I'm kind of getting the vibe now. Vibes aren't a lot to go off of. That this new game, the Titanfall universe, isn't going to lean as heavily in Apex Legends. To me, what it's been worded, it kind of seems like it's going to be completely separate from Apex Legends. Now, obviously, there's a big concern that this game is going to be canceled. Just like Titanfall Legends, it doesn't seem like Titanfall Legends was really in the prototyping phase, though I could be wrong. They had the game storyboarded, but they didn't have much to go off of. I don't even know if they got any of the missions done. But to me, right now, it seems unlikely that the game is going to be canceled. As last year, Vince Zampella kind of talked about it. He said that they were making a new game based on around original IP, which was Titanfall, of course, and they were heavily in their prototyping phase. It was very early in the game, and that was last year, so they're still working on it at least for a few months. But even more confidence inspiring is that last week, unfortunately, EA announced that they were laying off 670 workers. That's about 5% of the company, according to Forbes. EA cited accelerating industry transformation. Amongst this, they also canceled a bunch of projects. They said EA is moving away from the development of future licensed IPs. They also said they wanted to focus more on their original IPs and their original universes. One of the biggest games that was canceled was actually the recently leaked Mandalorian game. But like I said, that happened last week, and obviously we just got news of this new Titanfall game this week, so it miraculously survived this giant cancellation wave of EA games. So that's pretty confidence inspiring to me. Like I said, they were focusing more on their original IPs, obviously meaning Titanfall 3 and Apex Legends, so it seems like they want to grow their Apex Legends universe, as they're calling it now. On the bright side, Jeff Grubb did say, okay, look, it's not Titanfall 3, but it does seem like it will involve Titans in some way. So to me, my kind of leading theory, especially if it's going to involve Titans, is that it might not be a Titanfall 3, but it might be a prequel game. EA might want to have Apex Legends be the future of the Titanfall franchise, because right now, kind of where we're at in the Apex lore, it is very hard to write a new war into fruition in the frontier, but there's a lot to explore in the early days of the war, right before Titanfall 2, maybe even before Titanfall 1, or maybe even set during Titanfall 1. While I do like the Titans of Titanfall 2, it would be insanely interesting if they made new Titans for Titanfall 1, kind of retcon some of the lore, and expanded on these older models. Make them seem older than the Titanfall 2 models. They're not as advanced. So what do they have to do to make up for that? What other clever and unique ways are we going to be able to pilot a Titan or fight with a Titan? Although Jeff Grubb did have to say that every time he looks into Titanfall 3, Respawn is always talking about Titanfall 3. They're always talking about it, how they should make it, or how they might want to make it in the future. But they just never do. They always just cancel the project, or it just never comes to fruition for one way or another. Reportedly, it's been canceled 2 times already. First of all, we know it was canceled for Apex Legends, which in my opinion was definitely the right move. I think the Titanfall franchise is like a fine wine. Well, with Titanfall 1, there was glaring issues. For example, the lack of a single player campaign. Titanfall 2 was an amazing game. Although Titanfall 2 did have some pretty big issues as well, most notably the release date of the game. I think releasing a Titanfall 3 right after the flop that was Titanfall 2 would have probably killed the franchise. So ultimately, I'm glad we did not get a Titanfall 3 just yet, but now it's been like 7-8 years. It's time for a Titanfall 3. They've had time to expand the universe, to grow it. Now the Titanfall universe is a behemoth for EA. It's Respawn's biggest universe. So I think one day we do need a Titanfall 3. Reportedly, with Titanfall Legends, they were going to try and merge Apex Legends and Titanfall Legends, so the Apex Legends was kind of like a Warzone type thing. For example, with Warzone, if you hop on that game, you can also launch Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Warzone is like a hub for all things Call of Duty. And that's what they wanted to do with Apex Legends. They wanted to make it so Titanfall Legends was connected to Apex Legends. And eventually, they were going to evolve that into Titanfall 3 connected to Apex Legends. And I think that's a great idea to market the game and bring in new fans. I mean, Warzone is like, what, 200 gigabytes, and that might be a little obnoxious, but overall, I don't think it's a bad idea. But with all this coming to light, I'm very hopeful for the future of the Titanfall franchise. While I think Apex Legends, like I said earlier, it did great things for the Titanfall franchise, I think it's time we kind of put some distance between ourselves and Apex. I think Apex Legends has its own dedicated team, and that's great. People who want to keep playing Apex, they should. They should keep Apex Legends alive. They're making tons of money, and it's smart. A lot of people who play Apex Legends probably don't have a lot of interest in Titanfall, and that's okay. But the Titanfall fans need to be fed after all this time. I think now in the current gaming market industry, Titanfall 3 would be perfect. Our new Titanfall game in general would be amazing. I think it would succeed. I think it would be massive. And it seems to me that EA agrees with this sentiment, and that's why they're making a new Titanfall game. While it's not Titanfall 3, if it involves Titans, it's close enough to a Titanfall for me. I think there are great things that can come from this game, but I think Respawn needs to be very careful, because I see 3 possible outcomes. The first one is what everybody would love. This game, kind of like Apex Legends, evolves into a Titanfall 3, because if you didn't know, when they were originally developing Titanfall 3, they actually recycled the game into Apex Legends, and I could definitely see that happening with this new Titanfall game. So best case scenario, this game turns into a Titanfall 3. Another possible outcome I see is that they make this game and it turns out to be really good. I mean, it's Respawn we're talking about. Say what you want about their monetization. Overall, they make good games. Even if you don't like Apex Legends as a battle royale or hero-based shooter, that game, for what it is still amazing. You can feel its impact in the battle royale and movement shooter genre. So they could make this Titanfall game and it could do really well. To them that says, hey, this isn't the Apex Legends universe. This is the Titanfall universe still. Let's make more Titanfall. Let's make a Titanfall 3. So this game leads to a Titanfall 3. Or worst case scenario for us Titanfall fans is that we get this game and it just doesn't do so well. Maybe it's a single player based Titanfall game. A lot of people played Titanfall for the multiplayer. Titanfall 1 was a multiplayer only game. Titanfall 2, despite having one of the best FPS campaigns ever, still had a great multiplayer and a lot of people played it for the multiplayer. And even if we pretend that everybody played the Titanfall 2 campaign, that's still only 4 million people. Titanfall 2 still undersold. So they could potentially make a Titanfall 2 based story game and it could just not do so well because everybody wants to play multiplayer. Everybody wants to be in a Titan again. And they say, hey, okay, this Titanfall thing is not going to work out. This is the Apex Legends universe now. This next game we're going to make, it's going to be an Apex Legends 2. And that's worst case scenario. Although I think this scenario is very unlikely. Right now, for the past 8 years, everybody wants to play a multiplayer game. I think this Titanfall game is probably going to end up being multiplayer or co-op in some way. Maybe we'll even get a PvE game based on Frontier Defense or something similar. Respawn has always been kind of a passionate studio. The whole reason they didn't make a Titanfall 3 made Apex Legends instead was because they had no passion behind Titanfall 3. Like I said, criticize Respawn and EA for their monetization practices. There is clearly heart and passion in Apex Legends and Titanfall as a whole. You can look at any of the devs' Twitter. They love making that game. They love making the animations. They love making the story. They love making everything about it. There's a lot of passion and heart at Respawn Studios. So overall, I think we'll just have to wait a bit and just see what comes from this. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled, but it looks like it's probably not going to. Let me know in the comments below. Are you excited for this game? Are you going to be picking it up day one? Because I know I will. And if you like this video, subscribe for more.